Hello there, my name is Pavlos Termach and now we'll unveil the top news of these days. 74 Russian settlements are under control of Ukraine. Military inspections and stabilization measures are carried out there. The development of humanitarian solutions for these territories continues. Despite the difficult, intense battles, the advance of our forces in Kursk region continues and the exchange fund is replenished.
Groups of defense forces continue to conduct an offensive operation on the territory of the Kursk region. Since the beginning of the current day, the troops have advanced from 1 to 2 kilometers in some directions. The search and elimination of the enemy in Suja has been completed. Since the beginning of the day, more than 100 enemy soldiers have been captured.
The Center for Countering Disinformation reports that the Russian Federation has begun actively spreading fakes about the alleged plans of the Ukrainian defense forces to use prohibited weapons. This may indicate that Russian special services are preparing for provocations against civilians in order to blame Ukraine for their own consequences. In the absence of real evidence of any crimes by the Ukrainian military, since there is no violence there, the Russians are now focusing on the story of an allegedly shot pregnant woman, using the same strategy as in 2014, at the beginning of their invasion of Donetsk and Luhansk regions. Also, Russian authorities want to resettle the temporarily occupied part of the Zaporizhia region with residents of Kursk Oblast. Acting governor of Kursk region Alexei Smirnov said that refugees from the region will be resettled to their territories occupied by Russia in our Zaporizhia region. The appointed Gauleiter of the Zaporizhia region, Yevgeny Balitsky, proposed equipping boarding houses and sanatoriums on the shores of the Sea of Azov to receive residents of Kursk Oblast. Why do the Russians want to take the displaced people from Kursk region to the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine? The enemy plans to hide the truth about the situation in a border region from the Russians. Kremlin seeks to hide refugees so that they do not tell the truth about the actions of the Russian army, in particular about their escape of the Akhmat units, and do not express dissatisfaction with Putin's war policy, which forced them to leave their homes. In addition, Russians are afraid of spreading information about the normal treatment of civilians by the armed forces of Ukraine because Russian propaganda portrays Ukrainians as murderers and Nazis. The main task of the Kremlin now is a controlled information flow, so that people in Moscow and other large cities of Russia do not come into contact with refugees and do not have a reason to think about the consequences of Putin's war against Ukraine for ordinary Russians. And again, this is another reason why Moscow is currently blocking YouTube on Russian territory. Ukrainians attacked Baltimore and 3 other Russian airdromes. As Ukrainska Pravda wrote, referring to the sources in security service of Ukraine, it was the largest attack on airfields of Russia. Long-range drones of the security service of Ukraine and the defense forces. It was an interesting night at the airports of Baltimore, Kursk and Savasleyka, and also Borisoglebsk. Sources confirmed that this was a specially planned operation so that the enemy could not use these airfields for glide bomb strikes on the front lines of Ukrainian cities. Russian military personnel are already whining on social networks that the strike was effective and that the air defense was unable to protect these objects. Local publications wrote about 10 explosions only in Savasleyka, from where MiG-31s regularly take off and terrorize the whole of Ukraine with air raid alarms. We are waiting for satellite photos with destroyed Russian fighters and warehouses. The Russian Ministry of Defense announced that Ukraine launched more than 100 drones and assured that 117 UAVs were shot down. They are reported that 37 drones and 4 missiles were allegedly destroyed over the territory of the Kursk region itself, and another 37 UAVs were destroyed over the Voronezh region. 17 drones were allegedly shot down over Belgorod, 11 in Nizhny Novgorod, 9 over Volgograd, and 3 in Bryansk, 2 over Orlov, and 1 over Rostov regions of the Russian Federation. The Russian Ministry of Defense is traditionally silent about the consequences of drone strikes or the consequences of their shooting down. Let me remind you that every day the Ministry of Defense of Russia reports that the advance of Ukrainian troops has been stopped. However, the territories that are currently not under the control of the Kremlin are increasing every day. Ukraine has held its first round of negotiations with the United Kingdom on the conclusion of a bilateral agreement on the transition to stronger and deeper partnership.
The United Kingdom was the first to sign a security agreement with Ukraine, and now it is the first to work on a historic document on 100 years of partnership. We hope that negotiation will be successful so that this historic document will be signed by the President of Ukraine and the British Prime Minister soon. Andriy Yermak, head of the Office of the President of Ukraine.
The future comprehensive long-term agreement will be based on the provisions of the 2020 Agreement on Political Cooperation, Free Trade and Strategic Partnership and the 2024 Agreement on Security Cooperation between Ukraine and Great Britain. The new document should contain even more ambitious goals of cooperation. Ukraine aims to establish unprecedented provisions in all spheres of mutual interest, from security to the economy, from energy to culture and art. The intention to conclude an agreement on a 100-year partnership between Ukraine and Britain was discussed during the visit of former British Foreign Minister David Cameron in May. In addition, in January, ex-Prime Minister of Britain Rishi Sunak said that his country is building a new partnership with Ukraine designed for 100 years or more. And that concludes our today's video. Thank you for watching and stay updated. Comment, like and subscribe to our UATV English channel for more news from Ukraine, because it is your support that matters for us. Goodbye.